guys, welcome to part 3. So we're going to go for some triceps for the next bit. So we've got two options here. So we're either going to be up here on our feet and just hinging from the elbows and slowly back up, keeping the chin lifted as well. It's fine to have a slight dip in the hips if you need to. Otherwise we're going to be down here on the floor, heels up, and we're just going to keep the chin up, hinging from the elbows again, and back up. Okay, great. So off we go with that one. Hinging from the elbows, and back up, keeping that control. 2, 3, 4. That's brilliant. So even though it's a small range of motion, we're still really working those triceps hard. And resting there, brilliant. Shaking the arms up. So you guys be going for 3 sets of 12 with that one, making sure you have the 30 seconds rest in between each set. Okay, then we're going to come down onto the mat. We're going to have our weights nearby. And then we're going to start with our weights straight out, come up into our glute bridge, pushing those hips up, tucking the pelvis forward so we're not flaring the ribs at all. And we're just going to tap at the top and slowly back down into that chest press. That's great. Drawing a big semicircle, keeping the elbows hovering just off the floor. That's great. 3. That's great. Keep going, keeping those hips nice and balanced. Squeezing those glute muscles. That's brilliant. And bringing the weights nice and wide. And resting there. Great. Okay. So you'd be doing your 3 sets of 12. Then we're moving on to our crunches. So we're just going to slide the foot hands up towards the knees and back down, keeping that gap under the chin, looking straight ahead of us. That's brilliant. Really stretching the fingers, squeezing those core muscles. That's brilliant. Okay, and change. So we'll move on to the next exercise. So we're going to go for some bicycle crunches. So it'll be opposite elbow to knee, extending that other leg and keeping that bent one in a right angle. Keeping those elbows nice and wide. That's great. That's great. And squeezing that core and resting there. Great. Okay, then we'll move on to our heel taps. So we're going to keep our arms nice and wide, bringing our feet just about far away enough for us to really stretch. Okay, off we go, tapping those heels. 3. And we're keeping as much of our back on the floor as possible, pushing the lower back into the ground, really engaging that core. That's brilliant. And resting there, great. Okay, then lastly we'll come round onto our front. Yeah, and we're gonna go for our up-down plank. So we're either gonna be up in our plank, bum down, back long and straight, or we're going to have our knees on the floor, pushing our hips forwards, keeping the hands directly under the shoulders. Okay, great, off we go. Down onto our forearms, back up onto our hands. That's great. 2. And I do half on one arm, half on the other. That's brilliant. Switching halfway. That's great. Really engaging the upper body muscles, pushing through the hands. And resting there, brilliant. Okay, then we'll go for our plank leg lifts. So again, we can push the hips forwards, knees on the ground, tucking the toes under, or we're up in our plank. Okay, leg lifts, keeping the leg nice and straight, leg in line with the hip, and back down. That's great, keeping the hips square to the floor. and resting there, brilliant. Okay, then we're going to go for our cardio now. So we're going to stand up, pop the mat to one side. Okay, great, I'll just do this. Okay, great, so we're going to grab one weight and we're going to go for our dumbbell swings. So we're just going to hinge from the hinge from the hips and back up. That's brilliant. Keeping that bend in the knees and back nice and straight. That's it. Keeping that energy up, pushing through the feet and resting there. Great. Then we're going to grab our 2 weights. Now we're onto our jump squat punches. So we're going to go for jump squat, bending those knees. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's great. Keep pushing. Really bending those knees. Short, sharp punches. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's great. Keep pushing. Bend those knees. Stay low. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And resting there. Brilliant. Okay. Then we're going to march on the spot and we're going to have our arms straight, just going for some little circles, working those shoulders. That's great. That's brilliant. Worked really hard today, getting that blood moving around the body, keeping that oxygen and nutrients supporting us. And then we're going to go forwards. And resting there. Great. Then we're going to stretch out, bringing one arm across, marching on the spot, holding our forearms, so that lower part of the arm. We don't want to hold our joint. Okay, that's great. And switching sides, that's brilliant. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. And resting there, then we'll bring the arm over the top, keeping the feet still. Stretching those triceps, chin up. That's brilliant, back nice and straight. Seeing if we can push that hand down the back. And resting there, great. We'll switch sides and keeping that pelvis tucked forwards as well. We don't want to stick that bum backwards. That's great. Standing nice and tall, chins up. And resting there, great. Then we're going to go hug the bubble. So we're going to bring our arms forward, bending the knees and back up, stretching the back and the chest. That's brilliant. Feeling that stretch across the chest and resting there. Then we're going to touch our toes, hinging from the hips, and we're going to bring our hands on our calves to further the stretch, pulling our legs towards us. That's great, keeping the hips at the highest point. And weight on the toes as well. That's brilliant, feeling that stretch right through the hamstrings. And slowly back up. Great, okay, then we're going to find a flat surface. We're going to have our hand pointing away from us, bringing it again flat against the wall, and then we're going to turn ourselves away from the hand, stretching that bicep, standing nice and tall, and feet apart. And resting there, we'll switch sides. That's it, tucking the pelvis forwards again, making sure the back's nice and neutral. And resting there, brilliant. Okay, then we're going to stretch out the legs. So we'll have 1 foot forwards for the hamstring stretch, bending the front knee and pushing our back heel into the floor. If you can't quite feel the stretch, then we can shuffle that toe forwards. That's great. And tucking the pelvis forwards as well. We don't want to be sticking our bums out again. Yeah, that's it, nice and straight. And you can just ease into that stretch a bit further. See if you can bend that front knee anymore. That's brilliant. And resting there. Great, we'll switch sides. Off we go. Pushing that back heel into the floor. And resting there, brilliant. Okay, then we'll go for the quad stretch. If you need to hold on to anything, do. And we're tucking the pelvis forwards and pushing the knee back. Keeping just a small gap between the knees. And resting now, we'll switch sides. That's great. Tucking the pelvis forwards. It's so easy to really arch that back and come backwards into this position, but we want to stay nice and straight. That's great. Can feel that stretch right down the front of the quad there, and resting there, great. Then we're going to squat down, stretch right up, interlocking those fingers. And slowly back down. And we're finished. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoyed it. Drop me some feedback if you'd like to as well. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.